Good afternoon. This is a meeting of the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority for October 21st, 2021. I call the meeting to order at approximately 2:10. At this time, we'll stand and pledge of allegiance.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, so Stephen Roots.
Here.
Francis.
Present.
Paul.
Affirmative?
Ron, yes. Paul, our solicitor.
Thank you.
I'm here. So we're all present and accounted for.
Okay, thank you. You all should have received the agenda ahead of time. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, we will have a period for public comment concerning the agenda. If there is none, we will proceed. Our first motion is a motion to approve the minutes of the September 2021 DeSigra meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will move on to the treasurer's report.
That's me. That's where I stand up. I'm sorry. The treasurer's report, as always, starts off with our last bank statement, which ends on September 30th. So September 1st to September 30th. Opening balance, $168,868.07. The only transaction this calendar month of September was $1.39 interest paid. The ending balance on that bank statement at September 30th is $168,869.46. We've had a bunch of activity during the month of September that did not show up on the statement. And in short, we awarded our first grants. There were 15 checks mailed out for $5,000 apiece. 5 of them have not been cashed yet. There was one additional check written out to me for $131.70, which covered the reimbursement for domain registrations, email, QuickBooks Essentials subscriptions. Our current bank balance as of October 21st, 2021, which is today, is $113,737.76. Those 5 checks that haven't cleared total $25,000. The difference between those two numbers leaves us with $88,737.76. That's available to us for DeSigra business and additional grants. And finally, throughout the month, October 12th, we received our solicitor's invoice for the amount of $3,625.
So when did we receive our last quarterly check? Do you remember when that was?
That was last
I believe it was July.
July, yeah.
We should be receiving our next quarterly check any day now.
Okay, good, super. Wait, and we have no idea what the amount is at this point.
They usually send me an email ahead of time alerting me to it, and as soon as I get it, I will forward it
Okay.
to everyone else.
Okay, super. Great.
Any other questions for the treasurer concerning the report? I make a motion to approve the October 2021 treasurer's report.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I also make a motion to authorize Stephen Roots to pay the third quarter invoice of Daily Law Firm for $3,625.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For the record, that is a 3-month bill.
Correct, yes. I said third quarter.
You said
Okay.
quarterly, yeah.
Oh, did I? Okay, I'm sorry.
You accurately said quarterly. I
Right.
just wanted the record to reflect that that's not 1 month.
Right, right. All right, any other comments from, I have a question. Do you think you can get in touch with those 5?
Yeah, after
See if-
seeing
make sure they received
today that there were 5, I will follow up with all to make sure it was received.
Okay. And I did sign those, you invited me to sign those checks along with you. Do you know how long it's been since that date? And I guess I'm asking how long it's been since you mailed them.
I think I put it in the
today's date.
report. I think
You
it's,
said October
October
6th.
6th.
Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks.
I would wait a month.
Yeah.
I'd wait until, I definitely follow up, but I'd wait a month.
Okay.
So
So you're not
we can know
concerned that
for-
they haven't been, you're not concerned that they haven't been cashed yet?
No.
Okay. You know the business of the
Mhm.
industry. Right, thank you, Mr. Reitz. We'll move on to our solicitor's report. Does the solicitor have anything to report today?
You all received from my office the 3 responses to the request for proposals. And we do have on the agenda the amending of the bylaws. And they're the only 2 legal things that I have.
Thank you. Anyone with questions for the solicitor?
We're going to cover those things later?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, and new business on the agenda. Sure. Oh, here's another one.
Well, okay, thanks.
Sure, sure. At this time, any old business? Okay. New business, there were respondents respondents to the RFP concerning the web services. I'll turn the floor over to the solicitor if he'd like to add some additional input.
Well, as the board will recall, we had sent out an extensive RFP to 8 or 9 different potential, and we got back bids that were all over the place, most of which far exceeded anything within our budget or our expectations. So with the help of the chairman and the treasurer and others, we pared back what we were asking for, tried to make it clearer. And in my email of transmittal, I specifically said we were looking for a budget under $5,000 and an hourly rate not to exceed $150. Well, that scared off a majority of the people some of which had submitted $60,000 proposals. The one firm in Philadelphia wrote back immediately and said, we don't do any proposals less than $10,000. But he persevered, and I think we got 3 very good quotes from 3 organizations that have a lot of experience and a great reputation. And it would, I would not rule out Zip Syndicate, which is $8,100, which exceeds the other 2, only because they appear to be an outstanding organization and is the publisher of the Swarthmorean newspaper that does that. I don't know if Course Vector is the organization I've been referring to that is designated by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs that does thousands of websites and seems to do it very economically. How much I will defer to the board members who know more than I do with regard to just how comprehensive their price is. It's certainly a very reasonable price, but looking at Results Repeat, which came in under the $5,000 amount, they are proposing a semi-custom website, and they specifically include training and hosting. So I'm not sure how to get apples to apples on this. I sent it to the board and would welcome any comment that anybody has about their observations after they've read these.
Well, at least I would just comment that there's a significant difference in the upfront fee between Results Repeat, which is $4,500 for the semi-custom website design and development, and Zip Syndicate is $8,500. I just am not sure what they would be doing for us that would be worth the additional $4,000. Not commenting at all on the quality, that's not my point, but we really are talking about doing something that's really pretty simple. and they're $150 an hour. She doesn't give an hourly rate at all, results repeat. She says $360 a year for hosting and maintenance. She doesn't, so there's some additional question there about, well, is she setting this up so we can easily update it? Or is she setting it up so that we're gonna need a little help, in which case, what's her hourly fee? That compares with Zip's $150 an hour.
Well, pardon me for interrupting, but
No, please.
her 4,500 was based upon an estimate of 30 hours work at $150 an hour.
Okay, so
So
the
presumably-
hourly is the same, yeah.
Yes. Now, the Zip Syndicate is also $150 an hour, but their estimate was 54 hours to set it up.
They all had their,
That's on them. They can make all the estimates they want.
Right.
They're giving us a flat price committed fee. If it takes them longer than that, we're not getting an extra bill.
correct. I think they all had different ranges of when some of them provided a good timeline of when they, the process, and some of them were a little bit more ambiguous. So that's something that we would
Right.
need to see as well. And I think the course vector included the domain name, which we already have. So that would be something that we can go back to them and say,
Sure.
that's not a need for us, so readjust your bid.
But their bid is already so cheap.
I know.
$1,200
Yeah.
for the
Well, they might
setup.
take $20 off for their bid or something like that.
You know what might be interesting to take a look at is comparable samples. Like when it says here for course vector that they are, they're used by the Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs. Some examples of some websites that are comparable to what they think we're gonna need.
Yeah, I think when I was glancing through them, I think they all provided either examples of who they're working for, so you could see their websites, or they provided like a template. I think one of them showed like a semi-custom template. And I think one of the organizations, their expertise seemed to be more in like real estate or property management. Like that seemed to be a lot of their expertise. Any other comments or questions? I want to thank Stefan Roots for helping to respond to some of the questions that the vendors had that were funneled through us by Frank.
Do you have an opinion?
I guess I'm like everyone else. The apples and oranges argument is really tough. Maybe we need to put together some type of a grid with all the
Features, benefits.
features and requirements. Fill in the blanks where we can based on what we have. And I think it will give us a better idea what we're seeking out to maybe fill this grid out. Overall, dollars seem to be, or could seem to be equal, depending on how much work gets done and what the scope is. The one that attracted me the most, I think it's course vector, is the one with like that floating fee, like we're going to charge you this, but if we don't use that, we can assign that dollar to something else like training. Hosting at $350 an hour or $350 a year is super reasonable.
Yes, 2 of them have that fee,
Yeah, because hosting truly is nothing more than maybe $10, on a wholesale level. So I don't mind a little bit of an upcharge, but some of those original proposals we got were just absorbing.
Astronomical, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, one other comment.
Yes.
Artwork. I never quite figured out who's submitting what artwork to whom. I have no talent when it comes to artwork, and if they're, depending on our board, we're going to have to.
Well, I was going to mention that because someone had mentioned logo design. I don't know why we would need a logo.
I don't either.
Personally.
Well, we sort of have one.
I can consult with the,
Remember the one you sent around previously? For the county. It
Yeah,
had a
the county
picture of
logo?
Delaware County on it, and it had pretty colors, and it had our name going down.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
I can consult with our liaison to
Okay.
talk with their branding and communications to
Who's liaison?
the county council liaison, Councilwoman Ruther.
I don't think we want to spend a lot of money on design and.
Oh, no, I'm saying just for
Yeah,
permission to
right.
use the existing Delaware County
Sure.
logo. That's what I'm, you know.
I
just
don't know that
permission.
we can use the Delaware County logo because we're not technically a part of a
Oh,
county.
okay.
But some simple map with our initials
Right.
or, you know, and some photos of the county.
We may be able to get a freelancer to do it for like $50 or something like that.
Yeah, easily. Go on Fiverr and probably get it for $10.
Right, yeah, fine, or something.
What was my other? I don't remember, but I'll take the job to put the grid together. I'll start
Okay.
that based on what we have. I'll pass it around. You guys can fill in the boxes, see what's empty, see what other boxes we
That'd
may
be
want to include. What's the other thing? Oh, colors. The form that I filled out for,
Course factor.
yeah, one of the prompts or one of the questions was, what color scheme do we want to use? So I just want you to know that I chose something that's very generic, I'll call it, very close to the colors on the county website, kind of the blue and the gray and the kind of muted white. I don't think we
Okay.
want to stand out. There's no reason for us to stand out with pinks and purples and fuchsias and simons.
Your shirt is very nice, though. I must
You
say.
do, yeah. I did want to step up because I thought we'd have the close-up camera today.
Right, right.
This will not be representative of the colors of our website,
Yes.
I
for the
think we should
record.
do orange like Paul's mask.
Ron, did you have any comments or questions? I want to make sure you.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking a lot of the work will be on us. You know, we have to say, this is what we want to say on our homepage, and this is what the menu navigation we want, and so forth. And then I picture giving that to them, like maybe in Word document or something.
Mhm.
And then they just take their template
Mhm.
and put it
Fill it,
together,
right.
and I say, okay, here it is this what you wanted? And there's a little back and forth that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So we just provide them with the content, the text, and then they.
Right,
they
and then
put
they
it on
tell
the
us
website.
how to update it, like if we add agenda, add minutes and so
Right.
forth, things
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
But we can also, if we know WordPress, which is super simple, we can edit
Right.
and add things and shift things as time goes on.
Because I think one of them said, I think it was Course Vector said they're working with a lot of boroughs
Oh, yeah.
and they can't guarantee, because of the new law concerning agendas, that if they get something at 11, you know, uploading agendas, they get it at 11:55 the night before the agenda, that they will be able to upload it. So they will give us the
Training and
framing or the
capability.
guidelines of how to upload those things on our.
That's so simple.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Oh,
I can do
yeah,
it,
Yeah, yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
can do it.
And I think
Good.
they also offered, I think one of them offered a way for the public or our grantees to submit something and attach a document. I think that was in one of the proposals as well.
Mhm.
So like if they wanted to go on the website and submit an application, like it would be an online document that they can attach like a budget along with it, and that would submit it. And I guess that would be redirected right to our email or something like that. So just be an easier way.
Well, I'll flesh out all the nuance of all
Okay.
the recommendations. One thing did come up yesterday. I was at an event and had a long conversation with a cybersecurity guy.
Mm.
And the service that he provides specifically is to look at a website to find the holes, to find where there could potentially be problems, particularly in a new type of a setup. I was a little confused, having grown up in the mainframe days, where you had a security product that you kind of put in the mix of a software. It seems like on this scale, on the web scale, what he does is identify where the holes are and then go back to the developer and say, you know, you're exposed here, you're exposed here, you're exposed here. And then it's up to them to, you know, tie those knots. It's just something to consider, you know, as we get to the end here, if we want to use them. So he's almost like an auditor in a sense. It's a service that we would pay for. He'd come in, he'd look it over, he provided us with a report, and then it's up to us to figure out, you know, what to do from there. So let's somewhat consider and our security exposure, maybe slightly after we put the site up, or maybe even before. You know, we can determine that later. But I think it's worth doing, particularly with the type of activity that's going on with government entities. And as he explained to me, particularly government entities using WordPress sites. He says those are the most vulnerable, the most easiest to penetrate.
They are, but no money is attached
Yeah.
in any way to
And that's
our
the beauty
site.
of,
None of our social security numbers are on there. There's no financial transactions. So the only risk is reputational. Somebody going in and putting information up there that we
Changing
don't
the
want.
content or something.
So
yeah, and that's the key. We're really low risk. We have, like you said, no money, no social security numbers. I think the one thing I want to make sure we're not risking is, as he explained to me, being connected to maybe other systems with our hosting. So if we're backing up our files in some way, shape, or form, you know, you could be, those backups could be compromised if there's not like a gate that comes down and blocks you off from that. There's some just little nuanced things that I don't think will cost us a lot to have them just do a forensic look at it, or someone in that space, and it may never have to happen again. But he made me feel secure to check security early.
Thank you.
I guess with our proposals, they don't want to get into promising anything. My first thought was, you know, could that be part of the proposal, that the person providing the website would provide security? But second thought is like, they don't want to touch that.
well, you can't have them. That's like the Fox.
Yeah, it's like automating
Watching
your own
it.
work, your own statements.
Well, they
It's
should.
like an external audit. It's
They
like a-
should have some sort of assurance of cybersecurity. But to have someone come in and audit it really needs to be an independent entity. If we decide that's worth it.
Yeah, that would make recommendations to one of these vendors after
Yeah.
we get the site set up.
But to your point, Ron, I was sort of the belief that it would be a requirement in your RFP to make this thing secure, you know, put in security guidelines. But what I'm learning more and more is that no matter, I mean, you're better programmers, you're better coders, do incorporate it in their code, but you can still get a great result, a great website, and there can be holes that are there that only these hackers, who I shouldn't call them hackers, former hackers who are now security experts, who keep up with this stuff on a daily basis, you know, can identify. So they pretty much provide a service to the coders to say, hey, you know, here's things you need to look out for in your code moving forward. So it's almost like two unique disciplines. You're either a software developer or you're a security expert. The merging of the two seems just not to be too common.
Yeah, interesting.
But they work well together. They're built to work together.
Good discussion. So thank you for offering to make the grid, and we'll have more time to review these proposals. At this time, and I'm going to check with the solicitor to make sure we're doing this right, is I make a motion to table the motion to accept the bid among the web service respondents. Is that proper?
That is
Mr.
proper.
Solicitor?
Does
Second.
require a second.
We have a second. All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll look at that at our next meeting. And I think we're gonna, for future bids, and I'll make sure I email this to you, Mr. Solicitor, we're probably gonna ask for 10 days in advance of our meeting.
Have more time.
Because, yeah, and it's nothing that you did, but getting these bids on Tuesday, which was the deadline that we did agree on, it just wasn't ample time for us to review in advance of this meeting. So I think in the future, we'll do something around 10 days in advance of our next meeting, so we have ample time for all of us to review them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, thank you. The next item is a motion to amend. I'll make the motion to amend Article 4.02 of the bylaws to provide for at least quarterly meetings of the board in place of monthly meetings effective January 1st, 2022. And this was discussed at our last meeting.
So moved. I
Any-
just want to emphasize,
Yes,
we may meet every month.
correct,
It's just that we're saying we're going to at least meet on a quarterly basis.
correct.
I'll second.
Any other comment? Oh, we have a second on
No, I think I made the motion. Oh, you made the motion.
I made the motion.
I seconded it.
it. A second. Any other comments or questions before we vote? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Thank you. And the next item is a motion to authorize the solicitor to create and place RFP for Emergency Services Fund and Grant, directing, and maybe I didn't phrase this correctly, readers to request an application. And this would be where, for the grant that we agreed to last month, the solicitor would provide an RFP in the local newspaper, directing readers to request them from the SIGRA email.
So we're not posting this online,
We don't have one online capability,
right?
yes.
So we're asking you, Frank, to get the word out broadly to emergency responders in the county.
And
Yes,
that includes police departments, fire and ambulance, fire police. And what other organizations?
well, I'm also going to go through the Emergency Services Department here.
Yes, in
send
fact,
an-
Citizen
send an
Corps
email.
may have a use for those
Okay.
funds,
All right.
some of those funds. So,
So this is a two-pronged approach as far as communication. So one is the general public RFP that anyone in the county can see and know how to apply, but I'm also going to go through the Emergency Services Department to get a list of all the entities, all these emergency services entities, and send them information on how to
so
apply.
can they do that for you? Can they send them for
I
you
will-
so you
I
don't
will-
have
I
to?
will ask them.
We could also put this in our e-newsletter that goes out, I think, November 2nd, whatever the first Tuesday of November is.
Okay.
So that's in advance of the November 15th deadline?
Right.
When are they due?
No,
Oh,
no,
they're not
that's,
due then.
no,
Right.
no, after the
Okay.
15th. Request the application after the 15th.
So can we put it in our new November e-newsletter?
Yes.
We can?
Yes.
Okay, I'll talk to my team about that.
And the reason I'm asking for the motion for the RFP is to acknowledge the comment from council as
Yes.
far as our future grants,
Mhm.
making sure that they're we have public awareness. about it.
Mm-hmm, sounds good.
And I think you said that these RFPs aren't, $100 or $200 or something, the
That's-
ads in the paper. So,
Depending on the verbiage, but yes.
yeah, so we'll make sure the verbiage is.
Okay. All right.
Any other comments or questions on the motion for the RFP? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second,
So-
yeah.
Yes, let's
Yes.
take that through still. So the advertisement will have the email address, which we have already.
Yes.
Respond to, yeah.
And they will have to they will use the email address to request an application.
Right, right. Okay.
So it looks like we're going to be able to engage and make contact with them in a variety of ways. One is through the newspaper, so it's publicly broadcast. Another one through your
Our
newsletter.
e-newsletter.
Another one I will go through the Emergency Services Department to inform them of this application, inform them of this grant as well. And then they can request an application if they desire to apply.
Where will they find the application?
We will email it to them.
So you're gonna be regularly checking this email address and responding and sending the
Between myself
application?
and Stefan, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Any other comments or concerns? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I didn't make
No,
things
no,
clear,
they
but it's
said
good that
they-
we're having discussion about
Good.
it. because I like to be in meetings where there's discussion and not just a lockstep vote on
It's
everything.
all our first time, so.
Yeah. At this time, we did receive some letters. It's not official business. There's not a motion, but I'm going to ask our secretary to just read some highlights of some letters that is this permissible, Mr. Solicitor?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. To read some letters that we received acknowledging our first initial grant. So I'll turn it
Okay.
over to our secretary, Ron
I have
Evans.
3 letters here of thank you. One is from Chester Eastside. They write, Dear Paul Johnson, thank you for the donation of $5,000 to Chester Eastside. With your help, we are able to continue our work in providing various social services to Chester residents. And the second's from Harcum College. Dear Paul, thank you very much for the $5,000 grant that Harcum College received on October 12th. Greg Volz, Harcum's Director of Youth Courts, is highly regarded for his experience in delivering youth court training to Delaware County and throughout Pennsylvania. This grant will help provide more opportunities for youth courts as an empowering diversionary program to keep youth out of the formal court system while instilling conflict resolution, critical thinking, and socialization skills. And the third I have is from Elwyn. Dear Paul, many thanks for the generous grant of $5,000 supporting Chester residents. Your help allows Elwyn to be a continued source of collaborative strength and compassionate care for the individuals and their families we serve.
Okay, thank you. And even though they all say Dear Paul, they
Dear
should all
Paul.
say Dear
That's
Paul,
what
Ron,
the crown,
Francis,
the crown is heavy on the
Doreen,
head.
and Stephen, and even our solicitor Frank. So even though
I
they
love
say
how
Dear
that
Paul,
sounds.
they, it was all a group and a team
We know,
effort.
we
Yeah,
know.
I do appreciate it.
But we're
And
one
Michiko helped us.
I'm not
Yes,
gonna
of
say, we
course.
have to step
Thank you,
up.
thank you.
Michiko came through.
At-
And let's, if we can, 15 grants at one time was a lot. I mean, it seemed, 15, great. But for the guy who had to address all the envelopes, sort out the envelopes between those who had programs and those who did not, or not the envelopes, but the letters,
Right.
just, separate letters, making sure the right check went with the right letter, with the right envelope. It was quite an effort. It was a very rewarding effort, though. It felt great,
Yeah.
Putting those
Good.
things together and putting them in the
And we also got a
mailbox.
thank you from Kelly, Music for Life.
Yeah, those are the first
Oh, yeah,
ones
that's
to
right. You did get
receive
one via
something.
email.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good.
So, very
Thank you.
rewarding. Thanks, Paul.
Sure. Thank all of you, more importantly.
Should I
Um,
go on to this?
Yes, please. They become official part of your records.
So at this time, open up the floor for any public comment. Bueller, I'm sorry. Anyone here? All right. We have no public comment at this time. At this time, I'll open up the floor for authority comments, if anyone from the authority would like to say a few comments.
I do. We mentioned email address. I guess I'm the guy who holds the keys to our email address. Should I send everyone how to get to our email address? I think I should. I mean, is there any reason not to?
Yeah, I guess so.
No,
Yeah.
that would be fine.
So our email address, just to remind everybody, is info@dsigra.org.
Yes.
And you may not know, we also have a second one. It's, what is it, Frank?
I don't recall.
Oh, boy.
RFP at the cigarette.
Not
Dot-
RFP,
dot-
it's right to know. So it's
Oh,
RTK.
RTK.
RTK@thesigra.org. And we have one more vacant slot if we want to create a third. And that was part of the package that we purchased. So it's pretty easy. What I'm going to send you is a website. Well, I'm not going to say it out loud, but it's a website that takes you to the email address, and you just need to add the password, and it'll take you right there. there's probably a way to link it into your combined email service that you use, but I think for our purposes, just using this .com address takes you to the email, once you put the password in, and we'll all have access to it.
Yeah, I don't see, for me, I would prefer, rather than having to check the email regularly, I'd prefer that when the proposals start rolling in, that you put them up in a Google Drive, or that we have a Google Drive that's shared, that we can go in and some sort of scoring system for the proposals. Otherwise, it gets very confusing who's reviewed what, and I don't know, that's my initial thought.
So you're saying after we receive it via email, put it in a Google Drive?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
That makes
actual
sense.
proposal,
Right.
yeah. Because they're gonna send you a form and they're gonna send you a PDF
Mhm.
that has a set of information in it. And it'd be nice if those were uploaded in a Dropbox that we all have.
Instead of going to it every time.
Yes, and then, we just agree that whatever arrives 10 days before the board meeting, those are the ones we're gonna review. Maybe they're numbered, November,
01,
December
01.
2020,
Right,
01 to
yeah.
20,
Mhm.
and we all agree those are gonna be the ones we're gonna review at the next meeting.
Okay.
And we don't have that set up now, do we?
No, no.
Okay.
No,
We'll talk about that.
All right.
Ron, you have any comments?
Well, and for now, Paul and Stefan have volunteered to be checking that email regularly when we're expecting responses.
Yeah.
great, wonderful.
All right. I'll just make a comment. Just want to congratulate everyone here for those 15 checks that were distributed. Stefan signed them, had all the letters and envelopes set up, and then I went over and signed the checks, and it just feels great that we're able to get, even though they're mini grants, they're making an impact and they're making a difference in the community. And that's what this authority was set up to do. And it seems like it's been a long road to get to that point, but we got to that point, and now we're making progress in, establishing another grant. I also did reach out to Department of Planning, I believe, about multimodal agreements or organizations where multiple municipalities have agreements on some economic development. So I'm looking to get some information about that and bring that back to the board, and we can look at some things there, because I do remember we talked about that initially when we were talking about economic development. So just keeping the ball rolling and moving, and we're making good progress on a lot of things. So
Have you been invited to any meetings associated with the Commerce Department strategic plan yet, or is that not off the ground yet?
I did reach out to one of the council people, and that council person said that they're going to get in touch with the other council person to follow up with them.
Okay, okay, great.
All right, if there's no other business, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Meeting is adjourned at approximately 2:49. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Paul, I'm gonna get you a gavel.
Is this
You're gonna give me a
Paul, is